Hi everyone, welcome back to another design tutorial in Adobe XD, and today we'll be designing these cool icon animations. And I've designed these whole experiences around them. There's like a cool 3D experience, there's a quick swift experience that we have, and also another icon that we'll be working on is this reset icon, which is more or less like a set of two icons. And if I click on this, it'll just rotate and have this little swing kind of effect, this shutter kind of effect here. I'm not sure what this effect is called. Video junkies will know that. So without further ado, let's just get started with it. So I will be providing the Adobe XD file down in the description, so go ahead and download it and you can start working with these files straight off. To get started, let's quickly create a 1920 by 1080 artboard. You can change the size of the artboard to whatever you like. I want the background color to be dark. It can be black, or you can make sure that it's slightly towards blue and make this like a slightly bluish hue of black. This is perfect for now. We'll go ahead with this background. We'll quickly make sure that this artboard is not too big, because we'll be doing one icon per artboard. Okay, so for the reset icon, it'll happen real quick. So for that, we need two things. First of all, let's create a quick circle, just like that. It doesn't have to be a certain dimension. It can be any size you like. And now inside this, we will create the shapes that we want. So quickly grab the pen tool, and from the pen tool, so inside this, let's quickly grab the pen tool, and inside this circle, we make sure that towards the center we place a point inside the circle like this. We have another point in the middle somewhere like this, and we have one last point towards the top, something like this. Perfect. And we'll just grab this, make sure it's straight, and just randomly place these points outside. Make sure it covers the area. And here what we'll do is double click here and double click on this anchor point to curve it out a little bit, and just adjust it based on the visuals that we're trying to create here. And just adjust these anchor points to make sure that there's equal spacing between the the corners or the edges of the circle and this shape here, and just adjust it based on your visuals, nothing specific. So quickly go to fill, remove the border. Inside the fill, I've already saved the gradient in the Adobe XD file, which I will be linking down the description for you to download. So if I click on this, it'll already fill up this, and if I hold Option, it'll copy it for me, and I will just rotate it about 360 degrees or whatever the measurement is. Just place it on the other end of this circle, just like that. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is make sure that this circle is above both of these elements, and just make sure that you have another copy of this circle right here. I'll tell you why later. And here we will just say Command Shift M or Control Shift M to mask these two shapes. And as you can see, we have this kind of these two kind of semi-circle edges here, right here, and you can adjust based on whatever the visuals are to create a better measured visual. Perfect. Now comes the center text. What I'll do is quickly say reset, and I'll make sure there's the same text color as this this light teal right here, and place this right in the middle. Make sure the text is big enough, and place it in the middle of these two. And to complete this icon, what we're going to do is create two triangles. For that, let's quickly create a rectangle and remove the border, and go to plugins, and I have a quick plugin which is called Convert Shape, and I can convert the shape to any shape I want. So I'll just hit triangle, and it creates a quick triangle for you. And I'll just place it right above, just like this, and make sure this is the same color as the end of this gradient, right? And right here, what we're going to do is I'm going to cut it out, and inside this mask I'll place it. So I'll just copy and paste it right there. So you can see it's cut off a little bit from the edge. and I can adjust it again to make sure that it fills the this curve perfectly. Yep, just like that. And I'll bring this triangle right here and just flip it. Perfect. And I'll place it just like what I did with the previous triangle. Perfect. Just adjust it a little bit. Perfect. Now what I have to do is create another artboard. Just duplicate this, and inside this, first of all, we're going to rotate it. So just since this is an entire collection and it's a mask, just going to rotate it, and it'll rotate just like that. And make sure it rotates like this. It doesn't have to be precise, just rotate it as many degrees as you want in the negative direction, so in the opposite direction. So it's not positive, it's negative. And make sure it's like that, and good to go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to reduce the opacity. I'll just reduce the size of this circle. So make these edges come closer, just to make sure that these vanish. And these two triangles I will bring much closer, so just make sure that the distance changes and nothing else, and just bring it much closer, just like that. Just place them like this randomly anywhere. It's kind of buggy right now, and just reduce the opacity to 0 as well, and just make sure that this circle is out of bounds of these elements. And perfect. So if I go to prototype and I hit on this reset, I'll take this to the next artboard, and rather than saying snap, I'll say ease out, auto animate tap, and let's do 0.6 seconds, and let's try this out. So if I click on the reset, see how it just vanishes away, and it vanishes in a way that it's shrinking out. So if I play this again, see how this just shrinks. And you can elongate this animation, you can move things around, you can create like a burnout effect, whatever you like, you can do that. Let's move on to the next icon. Okay, so the next icon is really interesting because it's like a 3D kind of effect, and it's like an entire experience for the user. So what we're going to do is quickly create these rectangles, these elongated rectangles, just like that, and make sure they're big enough, right? Just like that, more or less a square. And I'll remove the border, and I've already saved these gradients, which are really nice, and they move from light to dark. Make sure it moves from light at the bottom to dark at the top. And here what I'm going to do is double click and first bring these anchor points inwards, straight towards each other. Make sure that it's not too much, just make sure it's a little bit. Perfect. And I will just reduce the height randomly. It's not scaling, I'm not scaling it down, just reducing the height from the bottom towards the top, and just bring it right here. So this gives kind of gives like a 3D effect. And to increase the 3D effect, you can just bring these anchor points slightly closer to each other now. Perfect. And what I'm going to do is to give it an even more 3D effect, I will create these, and I'll give these shadows. So more of these rectangles with shadows. So 12. How about 12 by 24? That's good. And I'll just scale these down now a little bit. So this one's slightly smaller and placed on top like here. Make sure it crosses the top edge as well. And oops, low battery, everybody. I'll try to finish my video with 5% battery. Let's complete this challenge, you know what I'm saying? So I'll make sure this is another gradient. I'm going for this slightly lighter blue to darker blue, and just copy this over once again and make sure this is slightly smaller, scale it down and bring it on top just like that. Perfect, center it out and make sure this is this yellow, from yellow to this dark gold kind of gradient. And that creates your sort of 3D effect. And you can increase the shadows opacity as well if you think that is necessary. That's what we're going to do, just to give it a better better depth of field effect right here with those shadows. Perfect. And I will say text, and I'll make a plus icon. We don't have to necessarily grab a plus icon from the internet. We can just do it right here. And I'll go to object and I'll say path and convert to path. Perfect. Right here, I'll give it this dark golden color that we gave it here and reduce the opacity to about 50%. How about 70? Yeah, that's much better. And what we're going to do is we're just going to reduce the height just like we did earlier and make sure the size, the scale of this is higher. And that is about it. Make sure maybe it's slightly smaller. Yep. That does it. And that's the whole card experience. Now let's just quickly duplicate this artboard. And first of all, we're gonna fold this card towards the top. What I'm going to do is just hold these anchor points and make sure it comes in line with the top two anchor points and creates this sort of rectangle. So as you can see, I've just folded them up and they're aligned with these bottom anchor points, so they're one constant shape. And this little buddy of ours will just bring it towards the top and just reduce the height, make it real small. And we're just gonna make this reduce the opacity as well. Perfect. And here what I want to do in the previous artboard I want to do is quickly create this text which will ask the user something like upload a PDF file for verification or something like that. Anything, the text could mean anything, it's just for show. And make sure this is white and slightly towards the medium font, or you can make it a regular font. And also there is a good amount of shadow, not too much on the Y or the blur, but make sure the opacity is high, so about 45, right? And make sure that Y is about 6, blur is about 12. Great, gives it that depth of field effect. And there should be another button which I've quickly copied from my original design and place it right here. See how there's a slight shadow at the bottom as well, just to give it that depth. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quickly copy this text over to the first and make sure it is right here towards the bottom, just like that, and reduce the opacity to 0. Here as well, I'm going to just bring it towards the bottom and place it here and say 0. And we'll create another artboard right here, and here in this artboard, make sure that the opacity of these elements is full 100 and bring them up a little bit, just like that, just below the yellow box right here. And that's about it. Let's create another one where this is going away and reduce the opacity, and make sure that you fold this card again just like we did before, and right here. And I've already spotted a mistake that I've done right here, but that's fine. What I'm going to do is bring this card on top of this gold or yellowish card and reduce the opacity to about 70. That's about it. And right here as well, make sure that all these elements are above this golden card right here. Even this, just increase the position of this. Perfect. Now what I'm about to do is slightly different. I will use the X here. So quickly choose the text and say X. Oops, battery is at 1%. I'm gonna quickly grab the charger and let's continue. Okay, my laptop was about to be rest in peace, but I brought it back to life just in time. So this X, we're gonna make this a bold or a semi-bold, and just make this much larger as well, and give this blackish kind of tint, and make sure this is about a 50% opacity. And we're just gonna go to object again, make it a path, since we want to change the height, and just reduce the height like this just to give it that 3D effect, and place it right here. Perfect. And I've put this text here from the original design right here, and make sure this is slightly larger. Great. And just copy it over to this artboard as well. Just remember, all these elements, if you want them to animate, they have to be in all the artboards, or at least in the previous artboard. So I'm going to reduce the opacity right here. And that's about it. Let's quickly prototype this. If I click on this plus or on this top card, it should go to the second artboard, say tap, auto animate must be on, ease out, 0.6 seconds, which is fine. And here on the second artboard, we'll choose the entire artboard, and from this arrow on the artboard, we'll bring it to this third one. And here I want to select time, 0 seconds delay, auto animate, ease out in 0.6 seconds. On this third artboard, we want it to be activated on clicking on this upload button. So it goes to the last artboard right here, and it says 0.6 seconds. On hitting this cross right here, it should come way right back, just like that. That's cool. Now let's try this out. If I click on this top card, it should fold like that. Text should come like this. I should say upload, and this card folds up, and this quick text comes up, your file has been uploaded. And if I click on cross, it all comes back to its original state, and you can make it animate again, just like that. Now let's come to the last design, but also which some of you might be excited for. I'm just going to duplicate this artboard because I'm super lazy. Yeah. Here, to create that plus icon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the rectangle tool and create these thin sort of rectangles right here, right? And remove the borders right here. And I want 4 such. So I'm going to place one right below it, just like that. And here I'll place another one. I'll just rotate it 90 degrees or minus 90 degrees and place it at the center right here. And just, bring it in, fold it in towards this inner edge to make it look even. And I'll just hold option, and again I'll place this one inside this rectangle. And as you can see, I have a plus icon. Let me just center everything out so that it doesn't look like a weird plus. Perfect. And what I'll do is select all of these and go here, and I'll say add. So it's now one whole element, so you don't have to fiddle with it too much. And I'll just place it in the center of this artboard. And I'll give this a Okay, so now that everything has been placed, what I'm going to do quickly is to select all of these and make sure it's about 20 or 25 pixels on the border radius. Perfect. And here, while everything is selected, I'll click on add to make sure this is now one element. Center this out real quick, and I'll give it this neat little gradient that I've created beforehand. Again, Adobe Xd file down in the description. I'll remind you again and again. I'll just duplicate this artboard right here, and in the second artboard I'm going to double click, and here I'm just going to reduce the width of these so that they're now perfect circles. Make sure that they're same width and same height right here. So I'll just reduce the width a little bit. Make sure it's a perfect circle now. So 44 by 44 is perfect. And I'll bring this other rectangle in here as well. 44 by 44, and all of these I just have to do 44 by 44. You can do just look at it from this right bar here, and bring this last one right here. So make sure it's 44 by 44. Going for a precise number. Come on. 43, 45, 46, 44. There we go. And since this is now one group, I can just rotate it just like this. So make sure this comes and rotates like this. So these points are parallel to these edges of this rectangle or square. And say Command D, and the last one we will, from the opposite ends, just increase the height of each of these, right? Or the width in certain cases, and just bring them in like this. So that creates a perfect cross. So plus to cross, right? And we'll just quickly prototype this. Click on this, bring the prototype arrow to the second artboard, say tap, auto animate should be on at all times, ease out, and how about 0.6 seconds? That's fine. The second artboard, select the entire artboard and bring this arrow to the third artboard and say, rather than saying, say time 0 seconds delay, ease out 0.6 seconds. Let's test this artboard out as well. If I click on this should just float around and then become a cross. That was nice. You can rotate this even more to create a quicker animation, just like what I've done with my original designs right here. There you go. There you go, that's perfect. And this is much quicker and much swifter, so as to say. I hope you liked today's video. I've put in effort into it, so go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post every Monday and Thursday, so that's my schedule. Go ahead and like this video. Leave a comment down below as what you felt about this video and what you want to watch next. And I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.